Hi, everyone. Happy International Women's Day. My name is Trish, and I'm the Regional Manager of Educational Services here at L&M for the Prairies. One of the really cool things about my job is that I get access to new products when they're released, and I'm really excited to be able to share this one with you today, along with the fantastic folks who wrote it. So when I first saw this book, I wanted to highlight it for a bunch of reasons. I've recently started doing a lot of work with like women in the music industry, so I'm excited that this is written by women. I'm even more excited that it's written by Canadian women. My personal hobby horse right now is that I feel like we need more women in the music products industry and in the music industry in general. So I'm so glad to see this book that's celebrating and modeling and demonstrating all of those women who have gone before to work to build this path. So, as well, I think that for educators, I think this book is like for educators, it's a great thing. But I think it's also kind of a great book for a lot of other people, anyone with kids, especially young kids, especially girls. Like I suspect it's going to become one of my go-to books for my friends with kids. So if you find that and you find you'd like to pre-order it, you can reach out to any of us here at Long and McQuaid at your local store, and we will get it to you as soon as possible. It's just brand new, hot off the presses. And as you all know, there are some hiccups around borders and supply chain right now, but we'll get it to you as fast as humanly possible, and you can pre-order it with us at any point in time. So, all of that business addressed, I'd really like to introduce you now to the writing team. Joining me today, we have Anneli Loepp Thiessen and Haeon Grace Kang. Welcome to both of you. It's lovely to have you here. And before I leap in with all the questions, would you like to say a few words about yourselves so that the folks can get to know you a little bit?
Sure, I can go first. Yeah, my name is Anneli Loepp Thiessen. I'm coming to you from Ottawa, Ontario, where I'm doing my PhD at the University of Ottawa. And I am a pianist and a music teacher and a bit of an arts administrator. And I just love talking about women in music. And so have been really excited to be able to get this book into people's hands.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm Haeon Grace Kang, and I am an illustrator based out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I'm studying my Master's of Marriage and Family Therapy and my Fine Arts degree right now. So yeah, then when I'm not doing that, I'm hanging out with my dog and my bird.
Yay, I love pets. Pets are the best. Let's get into the question part. Woohoo! So, why did both of you feel that this was a hugely important thing to write today? Like, I mean, obviously it's important. Why is it so important for today?
Yeah, I think music has a way of really bringing people together, and this book kind of does exactly that. It brings diverse people together into one book and shows people from many different walks of life thriving in music. And I think people, especially kids, need to see this today because it brings visibility to diversity and highlights the beauty and strength of diversity in a society where I feel like there are a lot of divides right now. So my hope is that this book can show people that diversity is beautiful and that diverse people can coexist and even thrive together. And music is one field where diverse people are doing just that. And because these diverse women are expressing themselves in music, the entire field becomes more vibrant and robust. And I think that can be a metaphor for how the world can be too.
I love it. That is fantastic. Do you want to add on, build on that a bit, Emily? Or are you
Yeah,
really comfortable with what Hoon's shared?
I think who nailed it. That's exactly it. I think, yeah, just to add, I mean, to kind of say the same thing, we're in a space where women are getting a lot of attention and are doing amazing things, but there's still this inequality within the music industry, and we see that in any aspect of the music industry. And so, we've come such a long way, and women have these amazing, brilliant careers, but there's still so much work to do to highlight them, and especially kind of like Hoon said, to show the diversity of women in music and the ways that we're collaborating and interacting and making really beautiful things.
That is great. And it's kind of funny because it also dovetails beautifully into my next question for you. One of the things I noticed in the book is that again, speaking of wildly diverse, it is diverse not only in terms of age, in terms of being persons of color, in terms of all of those things, but it is also diverse in styles. So I notice right near the beginning we have Beyonce and Clara Schumann on facing pages, and it's just so cool to me to see the artists that are so contrasting, so diverse in the same book about the same sort of theoretically one silo thing. So, would you guys like to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I can show you here. I've got the book with me.
Awesome.
But here you can see B is for Beyonce and C is for Clara Schumann right on pages right beside each other. And so I think one of the things that I kind of set out to do in writing the book was to really get rid of any hierarchies that we might have about different styles of music and different music industries. In this book, there is no kind of classical music is the better music or popular music is more relevant or any of these things. We really kind of break down a bunch of those hierarchies and show women who were performing in kind of popular fields a long time ago and contemporary classical musicians, and then a whole range of women in fields in between. I mean, it's one of the things I love about Long and McQuaid is that you can go in and buy your like grade 10 Royal Conservatory musical classical book or your Mozart sonatas book, or you can buy a guitar and like the Disney Frozen soundtrack piano score or whatever it is. There's this whole range. And I think that's what we really need to lean into with music education right now is educating students on, you know, Hildegard von Bingen from centuries ago, and also Ella Fitzgerald, and also Selena Quintanilla, and all of these other women. And so breaking down that hierarchy was really, really important to me. I think also within that, when we talk about women having careers in music, sometimes we have this image that it's like you either have to be a superstar or maybe a composer. But what I wanted to do in the book was just highlight this whole range. So we've got like Wendy Melvoin, who's a film composer, and Jada Watson, who's a musicologist, and you know Alexina Louis, who's a contemporary Canadian composer. Like there's just this whole range of fields. Like if you're a woman in music, that can mean that you're doing research behind a desk, or you are on stage, or you're kind of consulting more, or you're doing kind of publishing and marketing. There's this whole range of careers, and so to highlight that kind of diversity as well.
That is fantastic. I love it. I think that is such a cool, cool, cool thing that there's that because it is such a wildly varied field. And I love that you've both chosen to address that. So, you know, we've sort of been on the diversity conversation, not only because we're women, but because many people have many intersections. And leading again forward from that, the book is less than half white women and includes all kinds of people. It includes women with disabilities, women of color, all kinds of things on various spectra at various intersections where we're all celebrating our diversities. So, who gets to talk about the impact of diverse visibility in the book?
I can take this one. Yeah, when I was growing up, I never saw people who looked like me doing the things I wanted to do in popular media, like picture books, TV, anything like that. And that made me feel like as a kid that I couldn't do those things, or like that I wasn't welcome to do those things in the world. And so many of the women featured in this book are trailblazers for women all over the world. Diverse visibility helps young girls and diverse populations believe that they can follow their passions and their dreams and make it. And there have always been diverse people doing things in music, but they haven't always been highlighted or given a voice. And this book aims to do just that in hopes that the narrative will change about what women and people of color and people with disabilities can and can't do. So I think, yeah, it's just really important to like kids especially that they see themselves in careers that they want to be in, because it's hard like being the first one, and I think in a lot of cases diverse people like diverse children aren't the first ones. They just don't know about the other people who are trailblazing in their field of whatever they want to do.
That's fantastic. And it's so amazing. And so I want to thank you so much for being willing to share that from your own childhood. Because, you know, like, I mean, many of us, well, we have our thing A or thing B that is a little different or whatever. We don't know what it's like to be a kid in that situation who's never had it modeled, who thinks, oh, I can't do that because my people don't do that. So I am so grateful that you're willing to share that. And that the book has become this awesome book that celebrates that without singling people out to say it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there are
Mhm.
harder ways to go about doing things that encourage diversity and inclusion. And I think this is a beautiful, warm way to do that without drawing any negative parallels or stereotypes or anything, just this brilliant open thing. So again, thank you for being willing to share that that was part of your experience, because that's not all of us are, and those of us who are realizing that that's a thing are starting to share now because it's important to do it. So again, thank you for that work. So like I said, for me, I see this book sort of being really almost a necessity for educators, um, as well as, again, to my mind, being something that I'm quite sure that everybody around me who has a child is now going to get as part of their gift. But how do you see educators using this book?
Yeah, educators were definitely at the front of our mind when we were writing this, wanting this to be a resource that you could use in your private violin lesson or in your music for young children class or in your music class at school, a whole range of things in addition to just kind of people having around their homes. And so we definitely kept that in mind as we worked with our publisher and developed the book. So one of the first things that's helpful at the back of the book, there's a little worksheet that students can fill out. They can go kind of searching through the book and see what they can find, if they can find the answers, who's an opera singer, who's a DJ, that kind of thing. So that's one really easy option. And if you're interested in the worksheet, it's also available just to print on the publisher's website, GIA. And so you can print out extra copies for that for the class. One of the ideas that I think is really fun, we're doing so much work now about elevating voices that we have not previously elevated. You can find so much on Mozart, but can you find the same amount about, Odetta or any of these other women who are in the book who have not gotten as much attention as they maybe deserve? And so what if you wrote your own ABCs of women in music or of, whatever your theme would be, and you had students in your class draw their own illustrations and write their own kind of 2 or 3 sentences about the person that they're highlighting. And you could work together as a class to kind of bring more people to light who we need to talk about and we don't talk about. And so I think there's a lot of potential for this to be a model for students to work together on creating their own resources. There's also a Spotify playlist on the GIA website. So if you want to listen with your students to the different songs by different women who are represented in the book, you can definitely find that on the website and listen to their songs. And then Haeon has also done a really beautiful coloring sheet, which is also available for free on the website. And so if you've got younger kids, it says music is for everyone, and it's just a nice kind of encouraging way for students to draw a version of the front cover of the book. So I hope that's some ideas for finding ways to incorporate this in education contexts. We'd love to hear what you're doing. We're both really passionate about bringing this to students and kind of bringing it to life for them. So to educators who are listening, thank you for the work that you are already doing on bringing music to life for children.
That is fantastic. I love that. And in point of fact, I might have to download the coloring sheets myself. I'm just saying that might be a thing. I might not be as grown up as all that.
I love it.
Right. But those are the bulk of the questions that I wanted to ask you. But here's one sort of last question. In going through answering those questions, did anything surface for you that you want to make sure that you express to everybody?
Well, I think my message for little girls who are reading the book is just to dream big. These pages are full of women who have defied expectations and forged careers where it was really, really difficult to. And so I think, we've come so far with women in music, and we have so many positive examples of women having incredible careers in music, but there's still a long way to go. And there are definitely spheres where women are still by far the minority. And so, surround yourself with positive models, whether that's reading more about the women in the book or, talking to your music teachers or reading other picture books about women in music. Really surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do and find those models. And when it's hard, forge ahead as a composer like Clara Schumann, or listen to some Beyonce to inspire you, and just let yourself be surrounded by the women who have done this work before, and then let yourself dream as big as you want, because you have a lot of potential to be a woman in music doing incredible things.
Awesome. That is so fantastic, and I love it. So do you have any last words for us, Haeon?
Yeah, just to kind of echo what Anneli said, like I just want little girls to know that they're not alone, and that there are women who are doing the things that you want to do. And if you feel like you're alone, I hope that reading through this book or just looking more into women in music will inspire you to blaze ahead and to do things that have never been done before, because there are women who have done that too. So yeah, just all the good vibes to the girls out there. You can do it. I know you can. So
I love it. And I'll echo the same thing. You know, I certainly chose an industry that is not chock full of women for the most part. But it's a fantastic industry and I love my time here and I have the most amazing supports everywhere, whether they're male, female, whatever they are amazingly supportive and it's a great industry to be in. And if your heart is telling you you should do something to do with music, do it. I don't care what your gender is, what your cultural history is. I don't care any of that. We want to welcome you with open arms because music is such a big deal as it comes to communication and humanity, and we can always use more of that now. So thank you again so much to Haeon and to Anneli. I'm so grateful for your book and your sharing and your willingness to be a part of this discussion. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what comes forward from this. I'm looking forward to seeing you at teachers conferences, presenting on ways you can use the book, talking about it everywhere. Welcome. I would welcome you back any day. But yes, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And happy International Women's Day.
Thanks so much, Trisha. This has been great. Happy
thank
International Women's Day.
you.